The movie starts in the 1970s at a prison called Sofia Central Prison. The prisoners all sing the country's song together. The main character, Bohemian, is a young person who was put in prison in 1971. Bohemi has become friends with a few people and they eat lunch together every day. Afterward, he shares that some guards are nice, but Captain Vekelski is a cruel and mean man. We witnessed Vekelski hitting prisoners. Bohemi discusses a place called the workshop, where everyone who is in prison hopes to have a job. Working in this workshop for 2 days feels like being in prison for 3 days. Working in the workshop keeps your mind busy with something, so you don't feel insane. In the evenings, Bohemi and his friends in prison like to play chess and read books together. One day, the person in charge calls Bohemi into his office. He offers Bohemi a chance to reduce his time in prison if he can get a group of people to make twice as many things in the workshop. The warden tells him that if he agrees to do the task, he will let him spend time with his child for a day. In simpler terms, if he and his team successfully complete the assignment, he will be allowed to be free and behave well in 1 year. The warden lets him choose and gather some men from the prisoners to make his own team. However, when Bohemi says he wants to hire the Hatchet, who is a very bad person that has killed 2 people, the warden does not approve. Bohemi tells the warden that he works very hard. So he forms a group with Hatchet, a criminal who causes problems, Needle, an old expert, and Crazy, a gypsy. Bohemi's friends are afraid of Hatchet, but he tells them to leave him alone and let him do his job. Bohemi and Hatchet are close friends because the serial killer helped him survive before. The group gets to the workshop. The prisoner named Needle teases a guard, so the captain will make him spend a day alone in a separate area when they go back to prison. He can't win against him, because he still needs him for the job. Later, the captain gives a few helpful hints to the new guard and briefly explains Needle's story. The man entered an old lady's house without permission and hurt her so badly that she died. The next morning, when her granddaughter came into the house, he hurt and killed her too. After some time, we observe the group getting ready to start their tasks. The Needle is causing trouble once more, and the others are telling him to behave. In a little while, the new guard comes and gives chocolates to everyone. This is because his wife had a baby boy. Bohemi becomes very happy and tells him, "Congratulations." The captain tells the warden that he needs to be tougher with the prisoners because they behave like animals. If the prisoners think the warden is scared, they will harm him severely. Therefore, he must make sure that doesn't occur. He also tells him to use the stick if he needs to. The team faces a problem when Hatchet's lathe won't start. The captain tells Bohemi to deal with the situation. Bohemi goes to Hatchet. The big man tells Hatchet that there is a pigeon trapped in the lathe. The men are attempting to open the lathe, but they don't have the tools they need. Soon, the captain and plant manager come closer to see what is happening. There is a bird trapped inside, but the captain wants to turn on the machine, but Hatchet says no. Right now, the captain tells the new guard to start the lathe. When he goes near and tries to push the button, Hatchet grabs the guard and says he won't start working until the pigeon is saved. Suddenly, the needle hits the captain on the head, making him fall asleep. Then Needle tells Crazy to stop anyone from entering the door. Bohemi looks really concerned because things have become chaotic. The prisoners are in charge of the captain and guard because they are coming up with a plan. Bohemi says he will ask for help to handle the situation, but Hatchet threatens to harm the warden if he does. The captain warns them that they might get shot, which scares the prisoners. Crazy gets really scared and asks Needle and Hatchet to release the captain and guard. Bohemi tries to resolve the problem and says he won't call the police. He suggests returning to work and setting free the captain and the guard. However, Needle wants the 2 prison workers. Master and Crazy support Bohemi, but Needle understands that if he sets the captain free, he will be in serious trouble. Bohemi tries to make Hatchet let go of the guard, but the big man says he won't start working until they remove the bird. Bohemi tries to open the lathe once more to get the bird out, but it doesn't work. Hatchet threatens to harm the guard if the bird dies. Needle says he will murder the captain. The captain finds it funny that Hatchet is worried about such a tiny bird. He also tries to anger him and reminds Hatchet about his brother who is no longer alive. Right now, Hatchet is very angry at the captain, but the prisoners are able to calm him down. The angry master asks the captain to stop bothering him, if he doesn't want to make the situation even more bad. Bohemi agrees to talk with the prison guards who have just arrived. They will let the captain and guard go free if the prisoners can also safely go back to the prison. The guards come to the door and start banging on it. The captain yells to let the guards know about the urgent situation. Bohemi walks towards the door and says who he is, but the guards start to open the door. One of the guards goes back to the car to ask for more help, while the other guard stays to watch the prisoners. The boss asks Hatchet to allow him to go and talk to the guards to solve the problem. The boss comes out with his hands in the air as the guard aims his gun at him. Meanwhile, the other guard attempts to ask for more help, but can't reach the main office. Therefore, he goes to the car to call them directly. The scared guard shoots the teacher in the chest, causing his death. The other prisoners find out about it, and Bohemi breaks the control device, shutting the door. After a while, the ambulance and the person in charge of the prison show up. The man tells them to figure out a way to communicate with the prisoners, so they can talk and make a deal. The warden wants to make the police cars go away because he doesn't want the prisoners to get more scared. But the police chief does not agree and won't leave. Right now, the prisoners are still trapped inside, uncertain of how things will end up. Bohemi makes the captain sit down and gives him water. He suggests they should open the door and give up, but Crazy is scared they will meet the same fate as the master. However, Hatchet continues to make a dangerous promise. He says that if they open the door, he will harm or kill the people being held captive. Slowly, the prisoners understand that they must save the bird, just like Hatchet wants them to do. Then, the guard contacts the minister and requests that he tell the police captain to go away from the area. The captain says he has 1 hour to fix the problem before they step in. The person in charge of guarding talks to the prisoners using a special device and tells them to make sure the hostages stay safe. He also promises them that they will ignore what has happened and pretend it was just an accident. Bohemi thinks they should make another attempt to open the lathe, and Hatchet agrees to assist. Bohemi takes the keys from the captain and unlocks Hatchet from the chains so that he can move around more easily and helps save the bird. When Needle disobeys, Bohemi says they will save the bird, then they unlock the door and give up. Bohemi and Needle start fighting with each other. The needle makes Bohemi fall to the ground and tries to stab him with a tool. But Hatchet grabs the needle and throws him into the wall. The prisoners keep attempting to unlock or open the lathe machine. Hatchet struggles but eventually opens it by using his strong muscles. However, they must take off another cover. The guard says they should stop using the lathe, or else they might hurt their hands. Then, they notice that the bird is still breathing and not dead. When Bohemi asks why he wants to help the bird, Hatchet explains that he has nightmares every night. In Hatchet's scary dream, he is trapped inside a small box and then covered with dirt and buried deep underground. Even though he yells and pleads to be let out, he eventually runs out of air and dies inside the coffin. So, he thinks he's like the bird and wants to save it to make his nightmares go away. When Bohemi asks the guard for assistance in opening the lathe, the guard responds that he will only help if they let the captain go. The captain will tell us about things outside. However, Needle thinks differently and uses his stick to hit the captain. Bohemi tells the guard that if they let the captain go, everyone, including himself, will die. After Bohemi tells the guard that he will tie him up like the captain, the guard agrees to help. Meanwhile, the police captain talks with the prison warden about how they should solve the problem. The guard believes that the hostages are not dead. Crazy and the guard are going to get a tool, and while they are doing that, the prisoner tells the guard the story of Hatchet. The large man was not mean, but one night something happened that transformed his life completely. During his brother's wedding, he drank a lot and became very intoxicated. When his brother told him to stop, a drunk man named Hatchet ended up killing him. When his dad tried to make them stop, he also killed him. Afterwards, Hatchet voluntarily surrendered to the police. The prisoners are still trying very hard to open the lathe, but they are not successful. All of a sudden, the guard asks Bohemi to come to the door and have a chat because an hour has already gone by. Bohemi wants more time to let the bird go. When the person in charge tries to talk to the leader of the people held captive, the leader says there is no bird, and the prisoners are just making a plan to get away. At last, the person in charge says that they will have 60 more minutes if they let the hostages go. They are given 5 minutes to decide. The warden talks about the parole they had talked about before, and Crazy overhears it. When the rest of the prisoners find out about this, they are angry with Bohemi because he has only used them for his own benefit. The captain laughs loudly, and Bohemi hits him in the face. Bohemi tries to untie the captain to set him free, but Needle disagrees. Bohemi says they will let the captain go, but the new guard will stay. The captain is set free. All of a sudden, the police captain shows up and starts shooting at the prisoners, even though there is a chance of hurting the hostage. The person in charge of the hostages is taken back to the room where they were being held, and the talks to settle the situation end badly. In a fit of anger, the guard punches the police captain, but the captain says that time is over. After that, we observe a group of soldiers coming in a large vehicle. Over there, the prisoners finally succeed in making a hole in the lid of the lathe. Bohemi reaches his hand inside to get the bird, but he doesn't succeed in catching it. The needle tries to cut the lid using a tool called an angle grinder, but it is not successful. So, they want to make a new hole, but they don't have the right tools. Bohemi asks the captain for the keys to the tool shed. The captain tells him to get a weapon because soldiers will come soon, and he wants to protect himself. In response, the captain agrees to tell the guard that Bohemi didn't do anything wrong and will be released. Bohemi comes back with a tank of oxygen and angrily tosses the key at the captain. Bohemi is smart and cautious. He won't bring a weapon because he knows that the person will harm everyone. At the same time, the soldiers get ready to go inside the workshop. The prisoners want to use a machine that can make iron go from solid to liquid, but they don't know how to do it. So, the captain offers to show them how to use the machine. When the captain heats up the metal, the soldiers get ready to blow up the door. Eventually, they succeed in unlocking the cage, but the bird is unwilling to fly away. At the same time, the captain reaches for his gun and starts scaring them. He tells all the prisoners to lay flat on the ground, but Hatchet says no and then jumps on him, holding him by the neck. A tool called a hatchet hits the captain's neck really hard, causing him to die. The new guard watches in extreme fear. Then Hatchet takes hold of the bird, and the prisoners come together to make it clean. Before long, the door is forcefully pushed open, and the soldiers enter the room. The prisoners are on the ground, but Hatchet gets up and throws the bird up. The captain tells someone to shoot, and Hatchet gets killed. The people in jail stand and shout happily because the bird has gone away. The captain tells the soldiers to shoot at someone, but they say no. So, the captain tries to shoot at them, but a guard warns him to stop. Finally, it was discovered that the prisoners were not shot because the inexperienced guard told a lie. He claimed that Hatchet had taken them all hostage. The prisoners go back to prison and will always remember their hero, Hatchet.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please turn on the notifications and click the like button to support the channel. See you in the next video.